You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
I'm sorry.
No.
Before the storm.
Not again. No. Oh.
You know, we're going to go ahead and go to.
I don't mean to brag, I don't care, but I want you to know, double vaxxed, booster, flu shot, and I'm going to be honest, I have the shingle shot too. And I still get my period. What? Yes! Traveled, went to Mexico twice, did shows, meet and greets, never got COVID. Clearly, Jesus loves me the most. Seriously. So nice. So nice.
You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
Oh, folks. Yeah, things are. We've got a lot of stuff going on kind of wonky right now, but there is good news out there. There is great news out there. This woman that you see in the picture here is Anthony Fauci's wife. I know. I'm using wife real conservatively. So she was heading off the NIH at the time. So Anthony Fauci is having a terrible day after the Trump administration started cleaning house at the United States Department of Health and Human Services. As the New York Times reported, the Trump administration on Tuesday laid off thousands of federal health workers as part of cuts announced last week. The firings including several senior leaders and government scientists. The bloodbath also included entire units focused on promoting reproductive health. That's when they scoop babies out and throw them in the trash. And gun control. And this is, your tax dollars now will not be going to these things, thank goodness, at the moment, until some activist judge steps in and makes something happen. But right now we're taking the win. RFK Jr. working on Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, and wants to reduce the health department's workforce from 82,000 to 62,000. And here's the deal: Anthony Fauci's wife was heading off this NIH thing. And people, whenever all this stuff came out, they trusted this guy. They were like, oh, man, Fauci, he's a good guy, dude. How dare you talk about my man? I was like, guys, are you sure that this is your guy? Just, yeah, he's trustworthy. I said, do you remember the AIDS epidemic? You're like, oh, yeah, that was bad. A lot of people, oh, boy. And, do you remember how it was mishandled? They were like, well, then you start reminding them things that happened. They're like, oh, that was kind of bad. I was like, yeah, the way they told people they got it and what they did to Greg Louganis, they drained the whole damn pool because he hit his head on the board. So we're draining the whole pool. It's pretty much, they mishandled it really badly. Magic Johnson's still alive right now and creating quite a ruckus and helping the left-wing Democratic Party destroy America. Keep him alive. We're going to need him later. South Park did a really funny episode about AIDS. Where like some scientist goes, we found the cure. And he goes to an Ethiopian baby out there that's just like trying his best to survive off a spoonful of mud. It's like, we got you. All you got to do is just grind up billions of dollars and put them in this machine and squirt it in your arm. If you got enough money, you can survive the AIDS epidemic. That's what it was a pretty wild deal. And come to find out, Freddie Mercury, had that stuff, but allegedly, if you look at actually how they treated Freddie Mercury with the approved treatment for that at the time, that's what actually allegedly may have possibly was Freddie Mercury's demise. Lo and behold, he probably would be the next Magic Johnson. He'd still be alive, maybe, if he hadn't did the protocol treatment. Same thing for another thing that was going around at the time when people were like, hey man, you could take some of this other stuff, it might help you. Whatever that stuff was. And they're like, don't you dare! We will tar and feather you. We will take your home. We will sue you into oblivion. How dare you tell people to try something possibly that might be different? Came after Trump. He's telling us to drink the bleach. There's still people right now to this day go, Trump told people to drink bleach. I said, what in the hell are you talking about? You must have been watching The View, the most educated, informative program on television right now. Totally not a wing of the DNC and the CIA. Not at all. Anyways, so just a long story short, she was married to Fauci, heading off the NIH. And when I tell people that, they're like, they're like, well, we got the NIH that keeps the CDC and thing and this, that, and the other. And you're like, well, don't you know that Fauci's wife was running all that? Isn't that ironic that that's going on? They're like, oh. I said, now you need to do a little bit of research, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Well, now she's been fired. She's not working for that anymore. She supposedly had stepped down, but now she's not even in that administration. They step down, but they still call the shots. They put somebody else because they've been exposed. Once their face, kind of like Klaus Schwab, steps down from the World Economic Forum, and this new guy's going to do everything. It's we don't even know who that guy is now. He's a new face and all. He doesn't stop running things. It's just let's just get him out of the limelight. He's been exposed. So, Bill Gates at some point will kind of fall back into oblivion in the next little bit because he's been talked about so much. He realizes that he's been discredited and his brand is tarnished. He can't get out there on the camera anymore and gaslight people and lie to people about what's really going on. And so you'll see that's coming pretty soon. He's met with Trump and everybody's like, ooh, and that's not good for Trump. Realizes that's not good for his popularity. So, Bill Gates just doesn't have the woo factor anymore. And so that's going to be a thing. You're going to watch him step down from probably Microsoft. You'll probably see that step down from all of his eugenics operations and say, I'm just going to kind of quietly retire. And no. They need a new brand. At some point, Zuckerberg will do the same thing as well. For Facebook, he'll step back from Facebook and hand off his leadership on that. But that's not going to be the end of these people at all. They just sort of put on a pair of sweatpants and kick back in a recliner chair and run a third-term presidency like Obama, who has not went anywhere by no means. And so, but this is good news. It's a sign of the times. It shows people are waking up, and the only thing about this whole waking up thing is power doesn't always be released so easily. Whenever, you realize somebody's, it's time to pass off the torch, but you don't really want to, you kind of try to cling on to things. And you might even be running behind somebody when they come around you as they wake up and beat them over the head with a baton like that runner did in that 4K and then blame somebody else. So I'm just saying, look for these things, these cornered rats to maneuver in a fashion to where they kind of fall back, but yet things are still headed in a direction of weird. The activist judges now have taken the reins of the country. We don't have a president. We do, but we don't. We have a guy who's trying really hard, and we have people that are doing things. But right now, these activist judges seem to be running the show, and are getting favoritism from all the media and all of the outnumbered. The politicians that are outnumbered by all these lefty politicians that are doing terrible things are given the limelight. And this is something I talked about whenever Trump first got inaugurated. I said, get ready. I said, he's going to do a lot of really wonderful things, but you're going to see an uptick in lawfare in a way that we've never seen before. And it won't be lawsuits and impeachment. It's just going to be activist judges stepping in and doing their thing. Guys, I wanted to just get this video out and tell you that we're going to stay adamant. We're going to stay awake. And I want you to just keep your eyes on a swivel. Thank you so much for watching. Good news for America, though. I'm out.